Welcome to Crunch Time, a program dedicated to helping you survive the crunch times in your life, whether they are caused by accidents, natural disasters, poverty, economic recession, depression, or all-out economic collapse, or whether they are caused by your realization that today's food supply is being contaminated by artificial fertilizers, pesticides, and genetically modified organisms, and over-processing of crops into what can hardly be called food. We want to help you through the crunch times in your future by teaching you what we have learned about organic gardening, food storage, and food preparation. We'll bring you into our kitchen and into our garden and share with you what we have learned, hopefully before your crunch times arrive. Now here is Chef Francois. Welcome back to Crunch Time, where Jesus is King and all our desires are to serve Him. Today we're going to visit a local vegetable farm that participates in the local farmers market throughout the winter. This farm is in North Granville, and it's called the Kilpatrick Family Farm.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Keith.
I'm Fran.
Nice to meet you. Where do you want to start?
Let's start right inside of here.
All right. So this is our
high tunnel.
Yeah, one of our various high tunnels. This is a 150-foot tunnel. Other than our transplant house, this is the only heated growing structure we have.
Where's the heat?
So there's ambient heat here for the actual air, but we mainly rely on this radiant heat that goes under the soil and heats the soil, which is where it needs it the most.
Where is it heated? You got a furnace back there or something?
Yeah, the furnace is up in there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Propane?
Yeah, propane. So eventually we'd like to move to something a little more,
And these
less
go
petroleum based. So
up and back?
Yep, so these go right under the soil. And the way we manage that is that we have these hoops and then these row covers that are off to the side here.
Yeah.
So at night we'll come in and cover this and keep, it's way more efficient to heat the soil because that's a mass instead of the air, and keep all that heat right where the crops need them and the roots and their leaves.
How much gas do you need in a year to...
We go through, I think we have a 1,000-gallon tank, I want to say, or 500-gallon tank. And this season we've been really fortunate. It's been really warm. Hasn't really been much of a winter at all. Last winter we went through quite a bit of propane. But these greens in here are such...
1,000-gallon tank go the whole year? Or does
we'll probably go through like, I don't know exactly.
or a couple of those a year?
Between 1,000 and maybe 1,500 gallons of propane a year.
Okay.
So, somewhere in there, don't quote me on that. So in the winter, this is all seeded down and planted down in greens. And in another couple of months...
When was this planted?
This, that was about 2 weeks ago that was seeded.
I was going to say, usually nothing's planted this time of year.
Right. But because this house is heated, we are able to replant stuff. And in another couple months...
This is all spinach?
This is arugula.
Arugula, okay.
Yeah, and there's some mesclun down there. And then in the summer, we transform this house into tomato and pepper production, and we've grown okra before too. So this...
You had tomato down in the lower one too, right? Or no, wait a minute.
We have field tomatoes out and
okay.
around, and we also have tomato. We pretty much have tomatoes in every house when it's the summer. Yeah. So
I want to build a small one of these on one section of my garden.
Okay.
And I want that shape. I don't trust the round one because too much weight on the top is just going to...
Right. That's why we have a 200-foot hay grove down at the end of the road there.
Yeah.
And the plastic's not up on that because that's not a... it's only a 3-season tunnel for us because that cannot take a snow load because it is curved like
this
that.
Past winter it could have taken it, but you didn't know.
Exactly. It's one of those things.
Now, what kind of plastic is on that one down there? It looked like it just regular 6 mil construction plastic, but
it's pretty similar. There's they have stuff that's a little bit that can take more of like the radiation.
I know Johnny's has got the stuff that's
Right.
UV protected.
Yeah. Right,
And
and that's just
it's considerably more, but
Right,
you know,
and
if
you
I'm
get-
going to
you
put
get
plastic up, I want it UV protected.
right. You can usually get about 5 years out of the plastic.
Yeah. Is this UV protected too?
Yeah, this would be all.
That's what I thought.
All greenhouse grade plastic.
Now, these spots where the U-loops go over the top, does that wear a hole through there?
No. No. The plastic would be thrown
Plastic's
right over it.
protected pretty good then?
Yeah.
You don't
So
have
there's-
to
so
have
there's two-
special boots or something over that to protect the plastic.
No, I mean it's pretty thick stuff.
Yeah, it's
I mean
6 mil.
you can put a hole through it if you want to, but it's pretty sturdy stuff. So in here there's two sheets of plastic on these greenhouses, and then we blow air in between for insulation value.
Where does the air go in?
Right over here.
Ah, yeah, okay. Really small fan,
Yeah, it takes a long time to get it there, but
and it
it's fine. Yeah, you can see it better from outside. The
this
puddle.
goes all that does the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's all right, and it's a squirrel cage, right? Yeah.
So, do you want to take a peek at some of our other houses now? See what else is going on? Or do you have any other questions in here?
Well, what is this stuff?
So, in here we have some stuff that's intercropped here. So we have some pak choi and Swiss chard. Later down, there's some different varieties of pak choi. It switches to a mustard green, Tokyo Bacana down there. Basically,
Now, I planted some mustard greens this past spring, and apparently there's 2 different kinds of mustard green. Because mine was so hot.
right.
And apparently there's another one that's similar to collard greens
Right.
and not
there's-
hot. And
Yeah, right. I'll show when we walk over to the other tunnel. I'll
Okay.
show you some Tokyo Bacana, which is like a really mild mustard green.
Yeah, because
We
the
put it
hot stuff
together
I
as-
didn't like, and I ended up wasting the whole crop and
Right,
gave it all away.
No, you'll like the Tokyo Bacana because it's really mellow. We usually will send it to market in its own bag, and that's like an Asian salad mix. So.
Yeah. Now, how often do you have to water this in the winter?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. It depends on how much, how much sun we're getting and all that. Generally, at most it's once a week. It's kind of as a need basis,
Okay.
basically. In the winter, we're really worried about moisture in here.
Too much moisture?
Yeah, that's a big concern in terms
Because
of
it'll
disease
collect
pressure.
on there and then
Yeah, and just the moisture in the air and in the soil just hanging out. That's where you're going to get a lot of disease and a lot of this stuff kind of rotting
Okay.
out. And we usually when we do
and
water,
you do water with these up here?
no, yeah, in the winter we're using the overhead
Okay.
stuff. In the summer we'll use ground drip.
Now the ground drip you'll
Yep,
just
right in
lay
the
on
row.
top of it.
Right in the row.
On top of the dirt.
Usually interweave.
How deep are these underground heaters?
They're supposed to be, a foot or more
Okay.
down. We have hit them before when we've been tilling in here, and that's
They look
not-
fairly tough though, so
So
unless you got a pitchfork or something, I don't
Right,
think you're gonna
right,
hurt
right.
it any.
no, I was under the impression they're a couple feet down, but I know we've put them before, so we put them down a couple years ago.
I see lettuce down there. What else you got in here? I assume you have spinach
Yep,
somewhere.
spinach. Sam in the orange hat is down there picking some red spinach. You've got mesclun in the 2 rows where those 2 Kilpatrick sisters are cutting. You got spinach all in this bed right here. And then you have your salad mix on that half a bed there.
Yeah.
We cut that a few weeks back. That's all regrowth. And then you have, like I said,
This is all, you cut it right
down
pretty
enough
much
so you're
off,
not
or
hit it, not all the way down. You
inch
don't
and a
wanna
half
cut-
up or
yeah,
so?
Yeah, here I can show you. So, just down enough so like to about there, and then it'll regrow because you haven't nipped that growing tip.
So about as much as that
Yeah,
one
like
there.
This is
About like this.
yeah.
Okay.
So this someone looks like
I never dare to
down
cut
to
mine
the-
that low.
Yeah.
I know. I never cut it more than that.
Right. As long as you're not nipping, you know, because all these plants grow from the inside out. So as long as you're not, you know, ripping that out, it'll regrow if the conditions are right.
Okay. This is lettuce,
Yep. This is all lettuce.
and this is the arugula.
This looks like it's mesclun mix.
Mesclun mix. Okay. That's spinach on the other side, right?
On that far bed.
This one with the skinny leaves, is that arugula?
This one here.
Yeah.
No, this is a it's probably a oh man, it's an Asian green. I'm forgetting it's
Let me taste it.
Mizuna, I think it is. Some sort of Mizuna.
Introduce me to the Kilpatricks.
So we've got Elizabeth Kilpatrick here, Hannah Kilpatrick.
Nice to meet you, girls.
Nice to meet you.
Harvesting mesclun mix. In front of you, you've got Sam Kilpatrick up here.
Boy, there's no weeds at all.
Well,
How do you do that?
we weed. There's some weeds.
I was hoping you'd say that this keeps the weed seeds out of here so we don't have to worry about it.
Unfortunately not.
Here, Keith.
Basically, if you look right here,
Oh, yeah.
this is our biggest. This is the only real weed we see in the wintertime is chickweed.
Yeah.
It's actually edible. When we're harvesting mesclun mix, we don't usually worry about it too much being in there because it adds some flavor. But yeah, and this time of year, and this past week, we've started seeing some other different weeds creeping in, so that's how we know that it's starting to get a little.
So when you harvest that stuff, you just cut it right down and just let it grow again.
Yep, exactly. You're not cutting.
And how long does it take between cuttings?
This time of year, you're getting, let's see,
Couple weeks, 3 weeks?
This stuff down here, I believe we were cutting last week, so you can see the regrowth on that just in a week.
So 2 weeks at the most before
2 weeks,
you...
and it's pretty much ready to go to market this time of year. Yeah.
What temperature do you keep this in here?
We just try to keep it as warm as possible. Right. I don't think I doubt that the heating system's actually on because it's been so warm.
Yeah, it's been nice
We
all
haven't
summer.
even really needed the cover at night because it's been above, it's been 32.
Mm-hmm.
But generally we'll keep it, in the, we'll have it kick on when it gets below freezing and try to keep it in the 40s.
Is this beets?
Nope, that's a red-stemmed variety of spinach.
All right.
It's, I believe the variety is Cardinal.
Looks a lot like my beets.
Yeah. Yep.
And that Swiss chard over there, the colorful ones?
Yep, this is all Swiss chard here.
And the light green one is the mustard?
This is the light Tokyo Bacana.
That one that flowered over there is the mustard too?
Yep, that's also that. So that stuff's gone to seed. We'll just snap that out.
All right, let's go look around.
Alrighty. So this is our.
That's the tank, and that'll last you most of the winter. But
Yeah, so it's heating that house and our transplant house, and we do have some space heaters in here that run off the propane. So in here, this is our other 100-foot house. This is unheated. Pretty much the same stuff in here. Solid mix, Tokyo Bacana, Swiss chard, and your Asian greens. Gracie, come here.
what is this seam right? Is this plastic stop and start there?
Yeah, that's
Is that lower down to?
I can show you outside. That's where we attach the plastic. So that's where we attach, the top, and then underneath here we can have the roll-up sides, so we can vent. And you run wiggle wire through there, and then attaches the plastic.
Right. I can see that the channel is made for wiggle wire.
That's just the track. Yeah.
But I just wondered if that's where you open it, or
Yeah. So it'll
you just
open all
roll
the
it
way
on
up
top.
to
and it just
that
rolls
track.
up from the bottom.
Yeah, I can show you right out here. was missing. But this essentially we just roll right up to
Okay.
here.
And you do it manually?
Yes, this one we do.
That's just for the torque, so you can
Yep, just go
turn
on,
it.
stick a pipe in it,
Okay.
dodge it. And here you can see better that
Yeah,
feeling
yeah, and you can
between two plastics.
you can see the wiggle wire
Yep, and
good
there's the
too.
wiggle wire trap.
Yeah, I see the fan.
Yeah. So on this
No, that's
house,
right
the
there.
roll sides are all automated. They're all like
That little fan is making all enough pressure for all of that.
Yeah, it's sealed.
Unless the
relatively well.
snow is on it, and then it.
It'll come down a little
Come
bit.
down
But these
some.
houses are these ones are designed to be essentially self-clearing. They won't hold snow for too long.
But it's got to be sealed well
It's sealed
all the
pretty
way around.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To be able to can do that. Does Johnny's have the channels in the wire?
I'm not sure. We usually don't go through Johnny's for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We go through Rimmel or Griffin Greenhouse. There's some different greenhouse, more specific
Okay.
specialty companies out there.
Alright.
So, give you a quick peek in our transplant house here, where pretty much most of our seating.
And this one you keep even warmer, right?
Yep, this is going to be really warm.
50 degrees or more.
This is Sue, Sue Barrett, our
Nice to meet you,
transplant
Sue.
house manager here. So we're seeding down some cat grass, it looks like, for our feline friends. So in here we'll start, we'll start seeding tomatoes, relatively soon peppers, all our crops that are going to get transplanted out. In the winter we do a lot of microgreens production. This is pretty popular at the markets. This is micro cilantro right here. This is just about at harvesting stage. I think this will get harvested later today.
Harvested meaning you just cut it, or
Trimmers are right here.
okay.
And give it a nice little haircut there. So you're welcome to try that. It's just
I was gonna
small-
say
small little.
they're not individual little pots, are they?
No, it's all. This would be.
There's some.
You can see
They're rows. Yeah.
So they've
Okay.
just been like that. So, and these aren't transplants, so we're just growing them in soil. We don't have to worry about picking
Right.
individual roots.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna taste this. It's got a nice little
So, yeah. And it's nice because unless you're growing hydroponically in this area, you're not going to get cilantro or herbs this time of year, really.
This looks like beets. Is that beets?
Yep. So that's one of our beet varieties for the microgreens. So we have a couple different mixes.
So these aren't for transplanting. They're
Nope, that's
just for the greens.
microgreens. Yep. Exactly.
Most of the stuff now that's in here is microgreens, except for the center.
Yeah. So all this stuff is our actual transplants that'll probably go in the tunnel that I'll show you in just a minute that we're working on. So this looks like a mess one might
never
see it out here.
seen trays like that before.
So this is a wind strip tray. So this has holes in between the actual cells, and this allows you for airflow. Because again, in here, just like in the other house, moisture is a big issue. So you want as much ventilation going through as possible.
So the air can get from the small hole into the big ones?
Well, no, just so there's air moving through, and actually, if you look through this, you can see that there is. room
Oh
for air
yeah,
to
oh
get
yeah,
through.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The air can get
So,
through.
Yep.
Alright, it's just got a little slit
air
in there.
flowing. So and this is actually a globe artichoke plant that's in here. So I'm not sure where this will end up, but
I got
during the
some
season it'll come out and bulb.
I got some
like that.
seeds for some artichokes, and I don't know whether they bloom the first year or not, but
It depends on the variety.
I know I've got to
there's
keep
some
it.
annual ones
I know
and
I've got to
some
keep it
perennial ones.
protected
Right,
through the winter.
exactly.
So
Here's some salad mix in transplant form. It's pretty close, ready to go out. Down here.
will this be transplanted into the other hoop house or right outside?
This time of year, that's probably going outside. We're probably not going to seed or transplant anything in those bigger houses, the actual greenhouses, those tunnels, because we're we're thinking about tomatoes at this point of the year, so we're hoping to get those in row.
These look like they're ready to transplant now, and
Right.
outside it almost seems like it's too cold.
Right, so that's why I'll show you one of our smaller tunnels, and that's how we get away with that. So, and
You
these are
put it in the
onion
tunnel and
sets.
then you take the tunnel down later, or you just
Yeah,
uncover it, or
yeah.
leave the hoops
We'll
up?
probably transfer it over to cherry tomatoes or tomatoes.
What is this?
These are our onion sets, so these will go out in the field. Let's see for sure what we got here.
Those are just left over from
Yeah.
last year that didn't get put out, so I don't know.
For the overwintered onions, yeah. So in front of our 200-foot hay grove down there, we have some like low tunnels they're called.
Yeah, I saw those.
Yeah, and those you would see on the way in, and those we'll plant. We have some greens down there too, but we also have these onions. So we'll plant these onions in late fall and put row cover on them, put plastic up over them.
Plant them by seed in
No,
fall.
plant them as a transplant. They'd be about this
Okay.
size. And they kind of hang out over winter, and then once it starts warming up,
Right.
they get a jump because they're already in the ground, they're already established,
Yep.
and they're under those tunnels, so it gets real warm,
That-
and we can have onions really early in the season.
That is what my rutabagas are doing this year.
Yep.
I tried to get them to survive through the winter, and they're starting to grow now. They're just starting to bulb out.
So we got some parsley here, and here's sunflower shoots here. So this is a sprouting type of sunflower seed that we buy. So the micro mix, you know, it's a lot like a sprout, except we're growing it in soil, so you get all this top growth, all this chlorophyll. So not only are you getting a lot of the nutrients from it starting up as a sprout, but you're also getting all this chlorophyll. So this is actually the most nutrient dense stage of the plant.
But you're only eating the top, right? You're not eating the roots.
You just eat
Okay.
eat that top. Yep.
And these sunflowers, you do the same thing?
Yep. Exactly the same thing. Yep. So these are really crunchy, really nutty.
No, if you let this sunflower grow, how big is it get?
It's a normal sunflower, so it would keep going.
6, 8, 10 feet tall?
Yeah, so sometimes when we'll reuse the soil, kind of top dress in the houses, and some of the micromix seed
Right.
will sprout in there, and some of the sunflower, and yeah, it's a normal sunflower.
Is this perlite?
I believe that is. Yep. Sneak around here, excuse us. Any other questions in here?
No.
No?
Thank you very much. This mulch that you've got here,
Yes.
you just use it for one season, or?
Right. This is Biotello. This is a biodegradable corn-based plastic. Use it just like any other plastic culture, except it's going to biodegrade, so we don't have to throw it away.
So you
It just breaks down right in the soil.
turn it in, or?
Yep. It'll turn in.
Okay.
Starts to break down after 90 days or so.
Does Johnny sell that?
They probably do. Again, we would probably we get mostly tools and seeds from Johnny. So
Now, is this top rail
yes, yep.
Chain
This is
link
the stuff
top rail?
we would be able to bend.
against one of the
Yep,
hoop houses
those are
down
all
there?
around. So we're always constructing some sort of tunnel. We literally yesterday, Sam and myself came through and put in these posts here, and this is where a lot of those greens that you just saw in the transplant house are gonna end up, because we.
Now, I never thought of angling the last one.
Yep, you angled the last one, and then
That makes
Yep.
a lot of
we didn't do it on
sense.
this one, but
Well, maybe the last one's out here and it is angled. That makes
Gives you a
more
little-
sense.
a little easier to tie it down.
That's, yeah, and that way you don't have to have your end posts where you're going to gather all your material way out here. You can have it closer to here.
Yep, exactly. Yep, and it gives you an extra couple feet in your bed.
Yeah, I'll have to keep that in mind when I build mine. Now, any of the hoop houses at all, you leave the plastic on in the summer?
Yes. Yep. So all these tunnels here, the plastic will stay on. You know, we're doing some pretty aggressive, grafted tomato production and heirloom tomato production, and then we are worried about overheating in there, so we have a lot of venting, and that's when those roll-up sides come into play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then normally we would have a house up for spinach. We did a kale tunnel last year too, and that you just try to keep clear and keep the flexing on all winter.
I've got 2 low tunnels, about, I don't know, 15 feet long.
Yep.
One with kale and one with spinach.
Yep.
They're good all winter.
Oh, yeah.
Just with a low tunnel with nothing over top of it.
It's amazing what you can do if you provide these really hardy plants with just a little protection from the wind and snow. It's
then I had a bunch of rutabagas that were already grown, but I didn't want to pull them out of the ground because I'm experimenting on a whole bunch of different ways to save it. Speaking of which, I want to see what you use for root cellar.
Okay, yeah, I can show you that right over here, because that's actually a big piece of our seasoning. It can actually be this low on...
Is this a refrigerator car?
Yeah, this is a refrigerator shipping container.
Okay.
So, basically what happens is...
So you don't heat this, do you?
No. We're trying to maintain temperature in here. Usually, so yeah, in the winter we wouldn't have to. So, so in the fall we'll come through and harvest our carrots right in the bins, transfer them to grain bags, soil and all. They come in here, hang out, and await for their trip to market, where we'll wash them up over in the washing shed in our big
you got parsnips
big
in here?
root barrel washer. No, we did not. We seeded some parsnips, and they did not germinate. It was such a cold, wet spring that we really struggled with some of our crops, and parsnips was one of the ones.
So the seeds that I had may not have been garbage. It may have just been the same problem you had.
It's potential.
Because I tried parsnips for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And I had like 5 out of 500.
Yeah, right.
Came up.
It was probably most of the weather. The spring was not very kind. The fall wasn't very kind either. Yeah.
So in here you've got carrots, turnips,
rutabaga. We have some radishes, some beauty heart radishes.
How about potatoes?
We do have some potatoes back there. That stuff was all flooded during Tropical Storm Irene. We lost quite a handful of acres.
So for a survival mode person, it'll probably be better to dig a big hole in the ground.
Dig a big hole,
and line it with a big plastic tub or something, like 55-gallon drum or trash can or something like that.
Yep. And I've seen in Mother Earth News, folks will just dig a hole and put a trash can in it with carrots and like sawdust and stuff, and that works too.
Hi there.
So we got a hard rock chicken here. Alright, goodbye, see ya.
We were going to have chickens. We already bought the material to build the chicken coop.
Yeah.
And I told my buddy, we better check. You're familiar with the Albany restrictions because your friends are down in Albany.
Right.
But what about here in Queensbury?
Yeah.
Well, he found out.
Yeah.
Can't have them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a shame that there's all those laws in effect. But yeah, so this is their winter home. In the summer, they are out on pasture, and they're in a big mobile unit that gets moved to a new spot every
chicken
couple
tractor.
days. Yeah, chicken tractor. So these ladies have access to lots of fresh insects and grubs and all that stuff. So.
That's what I wanted to do.
So it's good.
But in our place, we can't do it.
Yeah.
In the last minute of our show, I'd like to tell you about the real reason for this show. Jesus Christ, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Without Jesus as my Savior, I would not be confident entering into these trying times that lay ahead. If Jesus is not your Lord and Savior, I suggest you send me an email at crunchtime@roadrunner.com and ask me how you can join the God who loves you, His Son Jesus Christ, and His disciples in everlasting life. For now, I say to you, God bless and keep you and yours. I'll see you next week on Crunch Time with Chef Francois.